It's now Kyle Bass, founder and chief investment officer at Hayman Capital Management, a longtime critic of China, rightfully so. I'm going to start off with this because I don't think people realize sometimes, and we want to separate, Kyle, the Chinese people. I've been to China a couple times, met wonderful people, and the Chinese government. They are, like all governments, they are not representative of the people. This is Amnesty International. Last year, on Amnesty International, the human rights situation across China continues to deteriorate. Lawyers are harassed and intimidated. There are unfair trials, lengthy detention, lack of freedom of expression, arbitrary mass detention, torture against Muslims. That is a quick perusement. Are people underestimating the grimness of this administration of President Xi?
Yeah, well, first of all, Brian, great to be here tonight. Good to see you. Look, you separate the people from the government. Let's assume there are roughly 1.4 billion Chinese nationals in total. You have to remember there are 90 million members of the Chinese Communist Party, and the rest of the Chinese population is actually at the pleasure of the government, i.e., if the government asks you or demands for you to spy in any way for them in anything that you're doing in any foreign country, you're obligated to do so, or they will harass and or throw your family in jail. So it's actually hard to draw the line you want to draw, Brian, when you're thinking about it from a national security perspective for the West. So while I hear you, I'm not sure I hear you loud and clear. One of the other things that I want to mention is, especially given the last person that you interviewed here on travel, just remember, a month ago, Xi Jinping and the Communist Party were literally welding their citizens into their buildings. And now, all of a sudden, there's an about face where they are free to travel. And as you probably saw, Italy said that 50% of Chinese passengers landing in Italy are infected with COVID. And that's why you're seeing immediate responses from the West on demands for testing. But that policy change was diametrically opposed to the prior policy, which was actually one of Xi Jinping's, marquee policies. So you have to actually question whether or not Xi Jinping is actually losing some of his, let's just say, Communist Party position where he is, because one of his core policies was zero COVID and lockdowns, and they flipped that on its head and started shipping the Chinese population around the world half infected with COVID. So I just think it's worth talking about that a little bit more instead of maybe glossing over the fact that they've just changed policy and moved on.
Well, what do you think it means? Why would Xi do it? Is he afraid for his own reign?
Oh, I actually think it's different than that. Again, this is my opinion. It sure looks to me that the standing committee of the Politburo might have overruled his policies, given the kind of outbreaks of riots across the country. And as you know, those riots started with kind of unfair pay and unclean, unsavory work conditions at Apple's iPhone manufacturer over there, and which, of course, had nothing to do with COVID at the time. And then they kind of morphed into much larger anti-COVID lockdown rallies, and China was forced to, I think, change their stripes. But Xi's policy was kind of hard and fast with an iron fist, and it flipped. So what I think is, I think Xi got outvoted and overridden by the other members, and that is actually worth thinking about, because heretofore he has had supreme reign, and his policies have been carried through 100%, and this is a big one to be flipped.
And if it doesn't make sense for a lot of our viewers, they hear that China wants to be the biggest economy, the most important economy in the world, and then China locks down their economy for a year plus longer than almost every other economy. Oftentimes, it's hard to square. I urge every one of our listeners and viewers to do just a background reading on Xi's childhood. This guy he's probably a sociopath. He was thrown into a work camp. He was marched through town, humiliated. His father was basically paraded through town and mocked as a former communist official. At one point, he lived in a cave, literally, and then came back to kind of take control. His childhood was so horrific by most standards. You just wonder, what is Xi's ultimate goal? Economically, well, it's not humanitarian. We know that.
I think it goes back to when they announced China 2025 and their goal of global primacy. And if you go back and read the working papers, they basically stated in no other words other than they want global primacy in many of the world's, let's say, most interesting endeavors, right? Semiconductors, technology, base materials, rare earth metals, and they announced that, and they even gave the working papers to the rest of the world. Now they've since tried to recant, but I think their position is global primacy at any and all costs. And I think that our hope of China westernizing, we made a bet on them back in 2001, allowing them to ascend to WTO, thinking that if we showed them how democracy and how investment in your economy can really produce fantastic returns and grow your GDP fantastically, it has actually been a bad bet. And they've gone any other way other than going in reverse. And so, Brian, I think that going forward, we're going to see more tension between the two. I think this travel blip is yet a blip. You mentioned 3 million people traveling to the U.S. in 2017. You remember there were 450,000 Chinese students living and studying in America. 3 million is not that many.